it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to part 3 of my new feature, the top 5 films for each year that I have been alive. So we've got a lot to get through. We've done 1967, 1968, and now we're up to 1969, the year man landed on the moon, if you believe that sort of thing. I do. It's real, that's Buzz Aldrin on the moon. By the way, there's no photos of Neil Armstrong on the moon. Do you know why? Because Buzz Aldrin's crap at taking photos, and Neil Armstrong ended up taking them all. Anyway, that's the story anyway. Right, so, my top 5 films of 1969, my top 5 favourite films, not necessarily the best films, but as I always say, I would argue the fact. But these are my top 5. It's not a countdown, so they're not in any order, they're just a list of 5 films. It's not a countdown, so... There we go. So let's get on with it, shall we? So the first one is The Italian Job. Classic, heist caper using minis, cars to steal. I think they're stealing a load of gold, weren't they, from a bank in Italy, using minis to get the gold out. And then they end up on a bus. I'll not spoil the end of it. Michael Caine and a cast of Benny Hill, of all people, and a cast of many. Noel Coward as well is in it. It's a great film, and it's the classic line, "You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off." That one, isn't it? So there we go. Next up is True Grit, a western from 1969. A great film starring John Wayne and Kim Darby and Glenn Campbell. Won John Wayne an Oscar for Best Actor. I think it also won for... No, it didn't. It was nominated for Best Song. But it didn't win. Great music from Elmer Bernstein, as is to be expected. But it's, a great film. It is a great film. It's funny, it's dramatic, it's action-packed, it's got everything. It's a great film, so there we go. So that's True Grit. Right, next up is The Valley of Guan, a Ray Harryhausen film. Well, not a Ray Harryhausen film, but... he did the effects for it. So they always say a Ray Harryhausen film, even though lots of other people are connected with it. But it's Ray Harryhausen that does the amazing stop motion effects. This one is another western, sort of. Starring James Franciscus and Gila Golan, I think that's how you pronounce the name, and many others. And obviously a dinosaur called Guanji. It's about cowboys. They find what's called the Forbidden Valley. They actually find a little horse, an Eohippus, a prehistoric horse that's tiny. And that leads them to the Forbidden Valley, where there's dinosaurs and stuff, and Guanji, which I think is supposed to be an Allosaurus. They capture him, bring him back to civilization, and obviously it all goes awry. It's an amazing film, and quite a sad ending, to be completely honest. But it is an amazing film. One of my favourites, I've got to say, of all time. So there we go. So that's The Valley of Guan. Next up, a Bond film. Yay! We all love a Bond film, don't we? And this one, is this divisive? I don't know. It's generally, among Bond fans, this is high up there. It's the only film starring George Lazenby, the only Bond film starring George Lazenby, as James Bond, 007. Famously, he was dubbed for some of his part, for some of his role, where he was impersonating a British aristocrat. But he was famously dubbed because I don't think he could quite get the voice right, an affectation. But it's a great film, and it's the one where he gets married in it. Spoilers, James Bond gets married in it to Diana Rigg. We all know how that ended. It's a great film. It is a great film. Telly Savalas. I don't like Telly Savalas. I'm sorry. That spoils it for me. I'm not a Telly Savalas fan. I know he's in one of my previous years in The Dirty Dozen, but I didn't even like him in that. I don't like Telly Savalas for some reason. I don't know why. He just annoys me. And he annoys me as Blofeld in this film. I don't like the way he holds cigarettes. It annoys me. It gets on my nerves. But anyway, it's a great film, apart from Telly Savalas. That's on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And finally, a war film, The Battle of Britain. Michael Caine again. And a cast of thousands reenacting sort of the famous time in 1940 when Britain was under siege from German air forces and bombers and all this, and during the Blitz, and all that. And all we had to defend ourselves were, brave men that jumped in Spitfires and Hurricanes and soared through the air with the greatest of ease, and a lot of them didn't come back. And it's an amazing film with some great flying sequences, a great film. So there we go. So that's my list for 1969. A decent year. We had a Bond film, we got a dinosaur film, we got a war film, we got a couple of westerns, and a heist movie. What more could you ask for? So we'll go through them one more time. So The Italian Job, then we had True Grit, and then The Valley of Guan, then On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and finally The Battle of Britain. So there we go. That was my list for 1969, the year that man landed on the moon. Yes, he did. Well, two did. So we'll look forward to seeing what 1970 comes up with. I'll give you a clue. We got a horror, a tale from a classic detective, more dinosaurs, and all that stuff. That's just the clue I'm giving you for 1970. But that's it for 1969. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other, and until next time, I'll see you there.